Lin Changqing, who came to Mount Taishan by accident, woke up his own Taiyin constitution and came to the continent of fighting spirit with the 3 magic waters of inheritance and ancient times, becoming one of the 8 clans of Douqi Continent and a member of the Soul clan. Ambitious Soul Changqing wants to climb to the peak of the Douqi Continent. However, due to not being valued within the clan and lacking cultivation resources, the road ahead is difficult. But it was hard not to defeat Soul Evergreen. After relying on some means of hard work, he successfully obtained a large amount of wealth from the mortal enemy of the Soul clan, the ancient clan. However, what he never expected was Soul Changqing. "Miss Sunner, you don't want to see young Master Xiaoyan lying in bed. Gu Sunner, what are you doing? Don't come over." P.S. The protagonist has a bad personality and is decisive in his actions. Keywords of the novel. Douqi starts from the Soul clan with no pop-ups. Douqi starts from the Soul clan with full download of TXT. Douqi starts from the Soul clan with the latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. Scum Man. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Scum Man. Mount Taishan Mountain. Mount Taishan, also known as Taishan, is one of the 5 mountains. It is known as the first of the 5 mountains, the first mountain in the world. This ancient and steep mountain has a strong record in history, but also left countless myths and legends. Halfway up the Mount Taishan mountain, there is a mountain forest. In the mountain forest, clouds cover the tree tops, fog flows into the valley, green forests raise the wind, and white water excites the stream, which is like a fairyland on earth. At this moment, the dazzling red sun hanging high in the sky is freely splashing the dazzling golden light. The dazzling golden glow pours down, penetrating the layers of green shade in the mountain forest, shining through the gaps between the leaves on the land of the mountain forest, forming spots of light. Lin Changqing. Please explain to me clearly, who was the woman who called you just now? That woman with a purple avatar. At this moment, a sharp roar shattered the peaceful and elegant atmosphere in the mountains and forests. The birds and animals on the treetops were also startled by the scream, thinking they were in danger. They all puffed their wings and flew towards the sky in the mountains and forests. At this moment, a beautiful girl with a face full of anger is pointing at the phone in the hand of a man next to her and questioning. Upon hearing the girl's questioning, the man named Lin Changqing's face showed a hint of helplessness, sighed, and said, "She's just my sister, don't think too much." After hearing Lin Changqing's perfunctory explanation and indifferent attitude, the girl was momentarily stunned, with an incredulous expression in her eyes, as if she couldn't believe the handsome man who was usually extremely gentle towards her and immersed herself in a sweet and incomparable love. Surprisingly, after being discovered by herself about the abnormality in her phone, she explained it lightly, which made the girl's heart completely unable to accept. The fiery heart that was originally throbbing for the man seemed to have been splashed with a basin of cold water at this moment, completely cooling down and becoming incredibly cold. In an instant, hot tears gushed out of the girl's eyes like pearls, and her face became slightly ferocious. She screamed at Lin Changqing in silence. "Lin Changqing! You scumbag! We're done. Let's break up." Then the girl covered her face and turned around, rushing towards the foot of the mountain. And this handsome man, with red lips and white teeth, looked calmly at the girl's fleeing figure, as if this had been experienced many times before, unable to stir up any waves in his heart. After shrugging his shoulders, he walked towards the forest path behind him. This was his first time to Mount Taishan. Although he had an accident, the 2 people who came from then became alone today, he still had to take a good stroll on the beautiful Mount Taishan mountain. This man's name is Lin Changqing. He is a promiscuous person who looks extremely handsome. He is no less popular than a popular young man on TV. With his excellent appearance and careless salary, he often wanders among the flowers and is always at a disadvantage. Lin Changqing was walking on a steep path in the mountains and forests when suddenly a slight vibration came from his pocket. He picked up his phone and took a look. A purple-themed girl's profile picture sent a message. Bad brother, you haven't been looking for someone in a few days. When will you come over? They all miss you /shy. JPG. When Lin Changqing saw this news, an evil smile appeared on his face. He was about to reply, but in the end, shit. Lin Changqing, who focused his attention on his phone, did not notice a protruding stone on the road ahead. His footsteps were turned by the stone, causing his body to stumble and lose balance, rolling down the mountain road. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Reincarnation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2 Reincarnation. Bang. Lin Changqing rolled down the small path in the woods, then uncontrollably flipped out of the path, slid down from the side, and fell to the ground like a broken sack. Lie down. Groove. Lin Changqing stood up trembling as he fell to the ground. At this moment, his appearance was extremely disheveled. His originally handsome hairstyle had turned into a chicken coop, with several weeds on his head. The clean and simple casual short sleeves on my body have turned into a dusty rag, with several scratches on my body. There is intense pain in my arms and calves, as if I have broken a bone. Am I being punished? Lin Changqing was stunned by this sudden disaster. He asked himself, not confident, and then looked around. Surrounded by overgrown weeds, densely covered with mosquitoes, and trees growing crookedly, it is obvious that this place has not been taken care of by the staff of the scenic area. After hesitating for a moment, Lin Changqing gritted his teeth, covered his hands, and limped towards the front. He didn't know where he was now, and his phone didn't know where he was. He felt severe pain in his hands and feet, and it was impossible for him to climb back from where he had just rolled off. He could only walk forward to see if there was a way. After walking for about half an hour, passing through the forest, a crystal cave caught Lin Changqing's eye. Upon seeing this cave, Lin Changqing was stunned, feeling as if he had seen it somewhere before. Moreover, a voice seemed to be coming from deep within me, urging me to enter the cave as if something inside was very important to me. Lin Changqing gritted his teeth and walked towards the cave. As soon as he entered the cave, he felt a piercing cold, which appeared very eerie on this hot dog day, making him shiver uncontrollably. However, Lin Changqing gritted his teeth and forcefully suppressed his anxiety, following his inner voice as he walked towards the cave. Finally, he reached the depths of the cave, and what caught his eye was an open space. There was a small stone platform with a groove on it that seemed to hold something. In front of the platform, there was a small pool, pitch black as ink, which looked incredibly permeable. Lin Changqing hesitated at the sight of the situation. Suddenly, a dazzling light flickered from the groove on the stone platform, shooting towards Lin Changqing and plunging into his mind. Lin Changqing's mind suddenly heard a loud buzzing sound, and then lost consciousness, falling into the black pool. After Lin Changqing regained consciousness, he found himself in a peculiar space where he had lost his body. His soul was enveloped by an energy, and there was another energy converging towards his soul in the space, which was then dispersed by the energy within his soul. Finally, his soul was enveloped by the energy deep within that soul. Suddenly, his soul was in pain, and messages streamed into his mind. It took him an unknown amount of time to sort out the information within his soul. Taiyin True Solution. Divine Water. Reincarnation. Taiyin True Body. Me. Lin Changqing discovered through the information in his soul that he was originally the so-called Taiyin True Body, but due to the lack of energy in his past life, the origin of the Taiyin is hidden deep in his soul. And the energy inside the cave ignited his own Taiyin True Body, and put the inheritance of the divine water and Taiyin True Body from the three mythological legends into his soul, then reincarnated himself into a different world. At this moment, I am in the mother and fetus, and the source of the yin in my soul is reshaping my innate yin true body, while another energy in the mother and fetus, Lin Changqing, has already been understood through the outside world. This is the Douqi Continent he knows. He is located in the Soul Clan, and those energies are obviously the innate bloodline power of the Soul Clan, but have been eliminated one by their own Taiyin origin. Soul Clan. After understanding his own situation, Lin Changqing fell asleep deeply. He had experienced too much in a short period of time, and he was a bit tired, feeling tired. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Soul Evergreen. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3 Soul Evergreen 17 years later. In a delicate courtyard of the Soul Clan, the piercing cold enveloped the courtyard, freezing the vitality surrounding it for dozens of miles. The fighting spirit in the air formed a cyclone, converging towards the center of the courtyard. After an unknown amount of time, the fighting spirit around finally calmed down, the cold dissipated, and the temperature warmed up. In 10 years, I have finally refined these 3 realms of water and condensed them into my true source of water. At this moment, a young man in a black robe with his eyes tightly closed and legs crossed at the center of the courtyard exhaled a mouthful of turbid air and slowly opened his eyes. This young man is exactly Lin Changqing, whose soul was reincarnated 17 years ago. At this moment, he should be called Soul Changqing. Soul Changqing felt the 3 true waters within her body that she had initially controlled, and her heart was also filled with joy. The Taiyin true solution he cultivates is the most suitable technique for his own Taiyin true body, with infinite power, and the preliminary refinement of the 3 realms of true water deep in his soul, giving him the capital to reach the pinnacle in this world of the jungle. The 3 great true waters. Weak water. Existing in the 33 heavens, floating in the starry sea of the heavenly realm, untouched by worldly affairs throughout life, is the purest water in the world. But pure to the extreme is the ultimate poison. Once contaminated, it will be thoroughly decomposed and purified by weak water, completely erased from the world, and there is no possibility of reincarnation. Above the weak water, there is a self-formed realm, where goose feathers do not float and immortals and Buddhas are difficult to cross. If one dares to cross the weak water, there is only one outcome. Sinking into the weak water, being decomposed and melted by the weak water, and becoming a part of the weak water. Of course, the weak water of Soul Evergreen is only a slight source of weak water, with the characteristics of decomposition and assimilation of weak water, but as it gradually becomes stronger in the future, nature will reveal the power of this divine being. 1 yuan heavy water. Is the 1 yuan heavy water at the bottom of the Milky Way in the sky? 1 drop can transform into thousands of water droplets, forming an endless ocean. Each drop of water in the ocean weighs tens of thousands of pounds, stacked layer by layer, with ultimate strength. The 3 light divine water is a mixture of 3 innate divine waters: sun, moon, and star. These are the 3 innate divine waters of the sun, moon, and star, each of which is an unparalleled rare divine water and also a peerless poison. The sun's divine water wears away blood, flesh, essence, and bones. Moonlight and divine water corrode the soul and soul of the elemental gods. Starlight, divine water, swallowing true spiritual consciousness. And once the golden sunlight divine water, silver moonlight divine water, and purple starlight divine water merge into one. That will turn into the 3 light divine water, also known as the first healing elixir in mythology. Not only can it detoxify all the toxins in the 3 realms and 6 realms, but it can also overcome all the so-called incurable toxins. It can also treat all wounds and diseases, and even save the soul from extinction. It can also interfere with the soul, with an effect that can be considered incredible. There is also Soul Evergreen using the cultivation of Taiyin true solution, and the condensed Taiyin true qi is used to refine the true water of the original life Taiyin true water. Pursuing the ultimate cold and ultimate attack and killing power, growing to the point where it can freeze 3,000 worlds. The Taiyin true solution practiced by Soul Evergreen is a cultivation technique corresponding to a supreme constitution Taiyin true body. The combination of the 2 has immense power. The Taiyin true solution cultivates not fighting qi, but the Taiyin true qi that matches the true body. relying on weak water to decompose and assimilate the fighting energy between heaven and earth into one's own Taiyin true energy. However, the true energy of Taiyin is ultimately derived from the decomposition and assimilation of Douqi. After purification and condensation, the energy level of Taiyin true energy is only slightly higher than that of Douqi. The fighting spirit is fierce, while the true qi of Taiyin is yin cold, both have their own characteristics. The true body of Taiyin is transformed by the ultimate yin energy in heaven and earth, and is the main target of killing and attacking. Soul Changqing was condensed into the innate Taiyin true body from the deep source of the soul in the mother and fetus. Due to her own martial arts, Soul Changqing's mother was also infected by his innate killing and yin energy during her pregnancy, leading to a significant increase in strength. She directly broke through from a peak dozong to a dozuan. And Soul Changqing's father, a high-ranking dozuan of the Soul clan stationed in the Soul Hall, received a task targeting the Danta when Soul Changqing was 7 years old. At that time, Soul Changqing's mother, who was swollen with strength, also insisted on taking action with Soul Changqing's father. However, due to an accident in planting, both of them died inside the Danta. Fortunately, Soul Changqing's father seemed to know that there might be an accident when he went out that time, so he left most of his cultivation resources for Soul Changqing. It's not enough for Soul Evergreen to slowly refine his fighting spirit and cultivate himself at a young age. Due to the fact that Soul Evergreen has condensed the innate Taiyin true body from the mother's womb, eliminating the bloodline power of the Soul clan, the body is pure Taiyin true qi, without any bloodline power of the Soul clan. In his early years, he went to have his blood tested, but without any accidents, he had no quality blood, which disappointed his father, who was still young at the time. Now that both the parents of Soul Evergreen have died, and there is no awakened Douqi bloodline within oneself, naturally no one will give Soul Evergreen resources. However, later it was discovered that Soul Evergreen was promoted to Do, and the Do Qi of both water and wood attributes was detected, and he was very talented in water attributes. Relying on his exquisite water attribute fighting skills, he has been able to fight back and forth with some high-level bloodline geniuses, but he has not left much of the Soul's evergreen resources behind. In this way, Soul Changqing relied on some of the careless resources in his clan and the resources accumulated throughout his life left by his father to cultivate to the current Dohuang 8 stars. However, just now, Soul Changqing also consumed all the resources left by his father. He wanted to condense Taiyin true qi, which was even more terrifying than the resources consumed by ordinary people to condense Douqi. There were also several divine objects in his body that needed to be sacrificed, and the resources he needed for cultivation were even more terrifying than those of ordinary people. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Soul Clan. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4 Soul Clan. The cultivation resources have been exhausted now, and the resources obtained by going out to do those tasks are just a drop in the bucket. Sacrificing and refining divine water and extracting Taiyin true qi requires me to consume several times more resources than ordinary people. Continuing to stay within the clan is meaningless. I am a lonely family with no bloodline in my clan, so I cannot obtain the resources to continue my cultivation. I have also inquired about intelligence in the Northwest over the years, and the general situation has been understood. The plot should have just begun, and it seems that the tribe will leave in a few days. Soul Changqing stood up and gazed towards the direction of the Northwest continent, with a serene gaze. At this moment, Soul Changqing was wearing a black robe and stood with his hands down. The dark and ink-like long hair naturally hangs down from the waist, and every strand of hair is crystal clear. Her face is fair as jade, and her delicate cheeks seem to have been carefully carved, natural and harmonious. The pitch-black pupils emitted a cold light, and there was a resemblance between the eyebrows and the past life. The cold and aloof demeanor around the body made people feel like they had descended from the mortal world. The true body of the Taiyin, male and female, has an unparalleled temperament. Leaving aside everything else, it is impossible to nitpick one's appearance. The vast majority of women also gradually become obscene in front of the true body of the Taiyin. However, due to awakening the true body of Taiyin, Soul Changqing's already handsome appearance in his previous life evolved towards an ultimate beauty, or rather restored his original appearance. Now, although his appearance is slightly similar to his previous life, it is vastly different. Now, I wonder if Xiao Yan has awakened the old man inside the ring. That old man's bone spirit and cold fire seem to match me quite well. I can take that old man's flame over to study when I go to the Northwest Continent. Even if I can't figure out anything, breaking down this flame that is very similar to my physical condition, assimilating it into the Taiyin, and strengthening my Taiyin origin is also excellent. Xiao Yan. Hehe, since I am a variable, then you, the future Emperor Yan, don't need to rise again. Thinking of Xiao Yan, the protagonist of this world, the murderous intent in Soul Changqing's eyes involuntarily surged out, and a cold and murderous aura filled his body. The situation between Xiao Yan and the Soul clan is inherently never-ending, without any accidents. The Soul clan may have already set their sights on the Xiao family at this moment. The destruction of the Xiao family is inevitable, and Soul Changqing has no ability or will not stop it. And after Soul Changqing arrived at this Douqi Continent, he felt the indescribable beauty of the great power returning to him, and also had the inheritance of the Taiyin. Naturally, he also had ambitious ambitions. He could no longer make Xiao Yan the so-called Yan Emperor. Only he could achieve the throne. Suddenly, Soul Changqing frowned, and the killing energy dissipated in an instant, exhaling a deep breath of turbid air. Alas, my heart is in chaos, yet I unconsciously show my killing intent. If I were to walk outside, I'm sure I would reveal some flaws and cause unnecessary trouble. Although it is related to the heavy killings in recent years, it is still necessary to exercise one's mood. Soul Changqing thought silently. After being promoted to doling by Soul Changqing, he is no longer satisfied with the endless practice within the clan. The true body of Taiyin is inherently a bloodthirsty constitution, and making Soul Changqing fight such an unbearable fight every day makes him very uncomfortable and frustrated. It's better not to fight. So after he advanced to the level of doling, he began to go out of the tribe and do some low-level tasks. These are tasks to capture the souls of low-level alchemists or to destroy some low-level power families. At the beginning, it is necessary for high-level disciples in the clan to teach Soul Evergreen various enemy-killing experiences and how to complete the task with the minimum cost. Soul Changqing also slowly began to grow and could complete some challenging tasks alone. One time, Soul Changqing, with the cultivation level of Douqi Continent, ran to a family with 3 Dou kings and killed one, causing a river of blood to flow. When Soul Changqing brought the souls of the 3 Dou kings to the Soul Hall to submit a mission, it shocked the Soul Hall steward in charge of reception. Later, it was passed down to the clan, and with the strength of the 9-star fighting spirit, it destroyed the family with 3 Dou kings in power. Coupled with the somewhat unattractive face of Soul Changqing, it also earned him a nickname for being twice as young in the clan. It has to be said that the cultivation method of the Soul clan, which grew up in slaughter since childhood, is very suitable for this world. Strength is the truth, and the strong determine everything. As long as you are strong enough, no matter what outrageous things you do, others need to greet you with a smile and praise your greatness. Of course, the growth style of the Soul clan is not suitable for those upright protagonists. Those protagonists are cutting corners for their friends and brothers, offering sacrifices to the heavens, and directly sowing seeds. And for those who come out of the Soul clan and see their companions injured, it is already very principled not to go up and repair them. Soul Changqing grew up in the environment of the Soul clan, and the influence of the Taiyin true body on his personality has made him somewhat cold. Soul Changqing also noticed this, but didn't pay much attention. He felt that this kind of personality was quite good and suitable for survival in this world where the strong are respected. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Soul Clan Comparison. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Chapter 5 Soul Clan Comparison. A few days later, Soul Clan Square. The square was shrouded in dark clouds, and the air was filled with eerie and cold black air. Dark red pillars made of unknown material stand around the square. In front of each pillar, there is a jet black stone suspended. This kind of environment makes people feel very oppressive at first glance, and ordinary people are scared and at a loss when they see it. However, perhaps due to their cultivation techniques and mental nature, the people of the Soul Clan find this environment very comfortable, as if they were a fish in water. At this time, the square was already crowded with people, mostly in uniform black robes, with only a few wearing colorful clothes. It has to be said that Soul Clan people have a special fondness for black, and there is no mandatory requirement for them to wear black clothes within the clan. But most people love the color black, which is suitable for assassination and represents mystery. But there are always some people who stand out from the crowd in every place. You all wear black, but I have to wear other colors to show my uniqueness. For example, some beauty-loving women within the clan, some pretentious geniuses, such as Soul Wind and Soul Jade, these two great intelligences. At this moment, these two people stood in front of everyone in white robes, with a dark and imposing scene behind them, looking quite imposing from a distance. At this moment, Soul Changqing was also walking towards the center of the square, dressed in a black robe, which looked no different from the others. However, even so, his appearance caught everyone's attention, and everyone immediately began to discuss him. As the soul grew green with its gaze, both men and women lowered their heads. It's not because of the ruthlessness of Soul Changqing, who killed the clan and carried a heavy killing aura, that everyone dared not look at him. Are you joking about which of the Soul Clan members present here has a less murderous aura? It's not that Soul Changqing has done something big in the clan, which has made everyone afraid of him. He is a lonely person who doesn't have the ability, no support, and is still arrogant and domineering within the clan. He is definitely seeking death. But it's because of his appearance that doesn't seem like it should appear here. The younger generation of women in the clan couldn't help but shyly lower their heads, and their heartbeat accelerated when he looked at them. And the men, subconsciously, dare not look at Soul Evergreen. They are too foul-looking, afraid of being accidentally broken off. Not many young people in the clan dare to easily confront Soul Changqing. Those male disciples, seeing their Soul's Evergreen, lowered their heads and cursed inwardly, "Damn it, why are you looking like this as a man? All the girls in the clan have gone to see you. What should we do? Your behavior will cause difficulties in the clan's fertility planning, my soul is weak." And the Soul Wind and Soul Jade in front of everyone also saw the belated Soul Evergreen. However, their faces were not particularly attractive, and they turned their heads one after another. The birds didn't want their souls to turn green. It's not because of any conflict between Soul Changqing and them. Soul Changqing still doesn't have the right to offend the eldest son of the most blooded clan leader in their two clans. But when I was a child, both Soul Wind and Soul Jade liked to compete, and neither of them was convinced. Once, by chance, the two of them accidentally saw Soul Changqing. At that time, they were all children, and Soul Changqing's gender was indistinguishable. The child's voice was also somewhat neutral. So these two wise men immediately began to pay homage to Soul Changqing and make friends with him. Soul Changqing certainly knew what was going on. What were the thoughts of these two people? They had originally intended to explain them directly. As a result, Soul Changqing's eyes straightened when she saw the various pills and treasures they had sent to her. Just start pretending to be snakes with them, sell foolishly and pretend to be foolish. If something is delivered, just accept it according to the order. Later, these two people didn't know from where they found out that Soul Changqing was actually a man. One of them, holding a knife, ran over with a black face and questioned Soul Changqing. Soul Changqing asked 3 questions without knowing, pretending to be crazy and foolish. "You didn't ask me if I was male or female. You said you wanted to make friends with me, so I can't refuse your kindness when you give me something. This is the original words of Soul Changqing at that time. Upon hearing these words, Soul Wind and Soul Jade both wanted to curse their mother, but there was nothing they could do about him. Until now, both of them have an impulse to draw their swords and chop people when they think of what Soul Changqing said at that time. Since then, Soul Wind and Soul Jade have seen Soul Changqing with a big black face, and their resentment is about to condense into substance. Soul Evergreen is also a little guilty. She doesn't dare to stimulate them. Every time she sees them, she treats them as if she didn't see them. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Blood Test. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6 Blood Test. Alright, everyone is quiet. Now let's start testing our blood vessels. At this moment, an elderly man in the stands, with an emaciated figure, wrinkles on his face, and eyes like a falcon, stood up and said to the disciple below, who didn't look like a good person. Then he gave Soul Changqing a faint glance, but didn't say much. Young people have a restless temperament and always have special views on beautiful things. But as I grow up in the future, I won't pay too much attention to these things. They were not the same as the elders before, they were all handsome, but now they also have a fierce and evil appearance. Although it was mentioned that their strength can maintain their youthful appearance. However, most people do not pay too much attention. At their level of strength, only those who have taken a step closer or have a major plan within their clan can touch their hearts and minds. It is difficult for others to stir up waves in their hearts. It's not that they have become less fond of women at this point, and they don't care about their appearance. But rather their status. Even if they have a fierce appearance, countless women are eager to sacrifice themselves, so is it important to have a good appearance. In no time, many disciples began to step forward and walk to a huge black stone in front of the platform to test their bloodline. The blood test is conducted periodically and re-recorded. Generally, there will be no further changes in the blood after birth. But this world is full of wonders, and anything can happen. It is possible that some disciples may go out to carry out tasks, encounter enemies, and be severely injured, resulting in unstable foundations and decreased bloodline. It is also possible that there may be some adventures that may lead to an increase in blood vessels, and these are all possible things. The simplest example is when he went out and made great contributions, and the void-swallowing flame of the soul-swallowing clan helped his disciples improve their bloodline quality. After all, bloodline is the ultimate requirement of the Douqi family, so it is necessary to re-record and find suitable people to tilt resources at regular intervals. Soul Ice. 3rd rank bloodline, 8-star fighting spirit, Soul Fire. No grade, 2 stars fighting spirit, Soul Circle. 6th rank bloodline, 7-star fighting king, Soul White. 8th rank bloodline, 7-star fighting emperor, Soul Wind. Divine bloodline, 2-star fighting sect, Soul Jade. 9 rank bloodline, 1-star dose sect, one Soul clan disciple after another came forward to test, and as they had already known their bloodline level, no one showed any extreme emotions. The old man on the platform stood there expressionless, recording and shouting the names of the testers who came forward. Soul Evergreen comes forward for testing. A cold and emotionless voice emanated from the old man's mouth. Soul Changqing slowly stepped forward and walked to the black boulder. His left hand fingers traced between his right palm, and a blood mark appeared in the palm of his hand. Dropping fresh blood from his palm into the groove in the middle of the boulder instantly emitted a faint glow. The old man glanced faintly and read, Soul Evergreen. No grade, 8-star emperor, then he silently recorded it. Soul Changqing shrugged her shoulders and knew for a long time that if she had a noble bloodline, it would be a big deal. Then she turned around and stepped down from the stage. However, due to the beauty of Soul Changqing, everyone in the audience had already gained some understanding of him, knew some of his intelligence, and did not engage in any cruel and sarcastic remarks. You should know that although Soul Changqing does not have the power of bloodline, his water attribute combat skills are not bad. Among the younger generation in the clan, their combat effectiveness is also among the top, and their cultivation is also outstanding among the younger generation. Many disciples without bloodline power also regard Soul Evergreen as their idol and learn from him, and some elders are also happy with it. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Rewards. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 Rewards. The blood test has been completed, and the next step is the strength test, which is divided into two parts. In the first part, you will enter a small space opened up by Elder Soul Fur, which contains 4th to 7th level monsters. Killing Warcraft will earn corresponding level points, which also contain numerous treasures nurtured by small worlds that can be collected on their own, without any interference within the clan. The second part, after coming out of the small world, will be a competition in front of you in Taichung, with points deducted and increased for wins and losses. The top 50 scorers can enter the Sutra Pavilion to select martial arts and obtain a large amount of resources. The top 10 individuals can not only enter the Sutra Pavilion, but also enter the first floor of the Treasure Pavilion to select a family treasure. The third place holder can be enhanced by the Void-Swallowing Flame Adult to enhance their bloodline power. The second place can request Elder Soul Void to refine an 8th grade pill. The first place winner can obtain a sub-fire from the Void-Swallowing Flame Lord. The disciples below couldn't help but feel a bit heavy after listening to each other's breathing. Although there is a race competition held within the clan every once in a while, and the rewards are good, they are not to the point where everyone is eager to participate. They didn't expect that the rewards for this race competition would be so rich. And when Soul Changqing heard this, he also squinted slightly, as the first and third place rewards had little attraction to him. But the other rewards also made him very tempted, but Soul Changqing pondered in his heart. Previously, the clan had never been so generous. Now that they have suddenly brought out so many things, it seems that the plan within the clan is about to begin. We have already begun to focus on accelerating the cultivation of the younger generation within our clan, and we need to cultivate the backbone as soon as possible. So it seems that the Soul clan has already planned to take action against other clans in the coming years. Soul Changqing's gaze was faint, but suddenly he gave a smile, which was not his concern. Let the big shots worry about the plans within the clan. His main task now is to grow up as soon as possible. When he grows up, he will naturally be able to transform from a chess piece to a chess player, suppressing all demons and monsters. As the soul grew green and pondered, a spatial crack had already opened above the platform, and the old man standing next to the crack said, "The space crack has already opened. After you enter, you will be scattered to various corners of the small world. 7 days later, the space crack will open again to take you out. Remember, it cannot cause large-scale deaths of disciples in the clan. Alright, you should go in." The old man finished speaking and gave a cold glance at the important disciple, then moved away from Changqing to signal everyone to enter. The old man's words are very meaningful and cannot cause large-scale death. That is to say, small-scale fighting can be carried out among the clans. However, these ethnic groups did not pay much attention to the implied meaning of the old man's words. They are already ruthless individuals, with their hands stained with blood from childhood to adulthood. They have long been accustomed to such things. With 2 clicks of soul green, he muttered in secret, "This method of cultivating strong individuals may be cruel and bloody, but it is indeed very effective." No wonder the Soul clan before the Emperor's War in the original work fought against the entire Zhongzhou and even made them gasp for breath. It seems that the gap lies here. After a moment of contemplation, Soul Changqing followed the large army towards the space crack. Before reaching the crack in the space, Soul Changqing stepped in and instantly felt her body lose weight. Her head was like a paste, and there was a piercing sound buzzing in her ears. In no time, Soul Evergreen appeared in a corner of the small world. After a while, Soul Changqing finally recovered from the strange phenomenon of crossing the space crack. shook her head, and smiled bitterly. Originally, I didn't reach the level of Dozong and had a preliminary grasp of the power of space. It's so uncomfortable to cross the cracks in space. I've been like this, and I don't know what kind of state those Doling Dowang are in. Shaking his head, Soul Changqing stopped thinking about these things and began to gather a large number of people in this small world. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Soul Wind and Soul Jade. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Soul Wind and Soul Jade. At this moment, Soul Evergreen was in a dense forest, with strange trees standing tall, 4 or 5 times larger than normal trees. The whole body was pitch black, very strange, with rugged rocks and overgrown weeds. The sky was also dark and oppressive, making people feel very oppressive. Soul Changqing sighed helplessly and said, "Can we only say that he truly deserves to be the elder of the Soul clan? Even the space he opened up looks like this. Why do people of the Soul clan like this kind of tone? Is there any aesthetic value to it?" Soul Changqing smiled helplessly and began to search for points. He was also very tempted by the reward this time. Although it's not a big problem for him to surpass Soul Wind and Soul Jade with his strength, he doesn't intend to do so. He has shown average strength in his clan over the years, so there is no need to attract the attention of some people when he is about to leave. The reward for the top 3 is to enhance the bloodline of the Dou Emperor. He doesn't need it at all, he only needs his pure Taiyin true body. And the nihilistic devouring fire is even more of a pit for taking things. In the end, those soul cultivators with a sun fire were all controlled by the void-swallowing flame, and Soul Changqing wouldn't have his mind twitched to covet such things. And the reward for the Soul Void's alchemy is indeed quite tempting for the Soul Evergreen. However, compared to rewards, achieving second place and gaining unnecessary attention can be a bit cumbersome. He will definitely make some noise when he goes out this time, so the purpose of this trip is to seek concealment. It is best that the noise outside will not be associated with him. So, the reward for the second place has to be given up. Soul Evergreen only needs to safely reach the top 10 and obtain a large amount of cultivation resources. Based on his past revealed cultivation, the top 10 are just a matter of course. Soul Changqing's Douqi transforming wing, oh no, it should be called True Qi transforming wing. Although the energy is slightly different, Soul Changqing has not yet separated from the cultivation system of Douqi Continent, but its energy form is a bit strange. Unfolding the wings of True Qi, the soul grows green and rises into the sky, flying at an extremely fast speed over this strange forest. At the same time, using the power of the soul, it senses the movements of the monsters in this strange forest. At the same time, another place away from the strange forest, Soul Wind and Soul Jade, the 2 enemies, met and, without any surprise, started fighting. Damn it! Soul Wind. You're just a small realm higher than me. If it weren't for my recent cultivation of a fighting skill, you would have been surpassed by me long ago. Let you taste my latest understanding of fighting skill. Ghost Dance Soul Hand. In a valley, the roar of Soul Jade echoed through the heavens and earth, and a majestic fighting spirit gathered around him, delivering energy with both hands towards the front. Black energy appeared from his hands and slowly condensed into a huge black palm in front of Soul Jade. The palm was pitch black, with a black aura swirling around it. There seemed to be countless ghosts in the palm, and the soul struggled and roared, looking eerie and terrifying. On the other side of Soul Jade, Soul Wind, seeing this kind of fighting technique, also had solemn eyes and put away the playful posture he had just shown. He certainly knows this fighting skill, which is a terrifying intermediate-level fighting skill within the clan. It is extremely difficult to cultivate and requires the souls and ghosts of many strong individuals, as well as countless precious herbs. And they also have to endure the erosion of the soul of the strong and the erosion of the yin energy of ghosts in order to successfully cultivate. He never expected that the Soul Jade would successfully cultivate this move. Humph, the dark soul erodes the wind, with a cold snort from the Soul Wind and a wave of his hands, his fighting spirit surged, and 5 hurricanes measuring tens of meters in length gathered around him, with a terrifying sound. The 5 hurricanes instantly met the Black Hand, and the Black Hand was not afraid at all. With a slap at 2 of the hurricanes, the terrifying ghost aura followed the fall of the hand, instantly dispersing those 2 hurricanes. Upon seeing this, Soul Wind was startled and quickly controlled the remaining 3 hurricanes to sweep towards Giant Hand at the same time. The wind attribute fighting energy of the hurricane, mixed with special techniques of the Soul Clan, was immediately on par with the terrifying ghost energy of the ghost hands. Soul Wind saw that both sides were at peace and felt a little anxious, so he spoke to Soul Jade and said, "Soul Jade, we have just entered the secret realm. It's not time for us to determine the winner yet. Let's clear the others together. How about that?" Soul Jade listened to Soul Wind's words. Although her temper was a bit irritable, she was not someone who couldn't distinguish the situation. She agreed, and then the 2 of them dispersed their fighting skills. Indeed, we need to determine the winner on the competition table, not in this unknown secret realm. I will defeat you in front of everyone. Now, let's work together to eliminate others, which will save some trouble. Soul Jade coldly glanced at Soul Wind and said indifferently. Upon hearing Soul Jade's words, she looked down upon her, but didn't say much. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Soul Wind and Soul Jade seeking revenge. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Soul Wind and Soul Jade seeking revenge. Soul Wind and Soul Jade were about to set off together when Soul Jade suddenly stopped. Soul Wind looked at Soul Jade with some confusion on the side. Looking at the confusion in Soul Wind's eyes, Soul Jade said calmly, "Soul Changqing has recently gained a considerable reputation, not relying on the power of her bloodline. At the age of 17, she has reached the level of an 8-star emperor, but she has recently been ranked as a genius within her clan. But I think we should beat him, let him know that there are people outside of us and there are heavens outside of us. This way, he won't be too proud and end up disappearing from the crowd because he doesn't have the power of his bloodline. What do you think, Soul Wind?" Soul Wind heard Soul Jade mention Soul Evergreen, and his face instantly turned terrifyingly black. He certainly knew what Soul Yu meant by what he said. He said so much, and it was true that he wanted to teach Soul Changqing a lesson. The rest was just nonsense. However, Soul Wind has long wanted to give Soul Changqing some color to see, but Soul Changqing has not given them much opportunity. Now in this secret realm, it is necessary to treat Soul Evergreen well. I think you're right. You really need to give Soul Evergreen a good beating. It's also for his good. Let's go. Soul Wind said a cold sentence and flew in one direction. When he mentioned Soul Changqing, his whole mood was not very good, and he really wanted to beat him up now. However, neither of them said anything about killing Soul Changqing. After all, the talent of Soul Evergreen is even highly recognized by the 2 of them. And who are the 2 of them, the legitimate son of the Soul Heavenly Emperor? There must be someone who will take over the position of clan leader in the future. Although the bloodline of Soul Jade is inferior to that of Soul Wind and has the existence of emptiness and devouring inflammation, it is certain that in the future it can become the bloodline of the 10th grade Douqi. It is not yet known who the 2 are the young clan leaders. And there is also a lot of room for growth in the future for Soul Evergreen. No matter who is a minority leader, they will become their right-hand man. Killing Soul Changqing is equivalent to killing a capable assistant under their command in the future, just to vent their anger. They cannot do such a foolish thing. If they really do such a thing, although it won't have any impact. But if it reaches the ears of the Soul Heavenly Emperor, it will definitely make him think that they are too childish and waste their help for a small matter or selfishness. It will definitely disappoint the Soul Heavenly Emperor. If the Soul Heavenly Emperor were to practice a trumpet at that time, it wouldn't be good. However, Soul Changqing, who was far away in the strange forest of the secret realm, naturally did not know about Soul Wind. Soul Jade, these 2 wise men, planned to deal with themselves. However, even if I knew, I wouldn't care too much. With the current strength of Soul Evergreen, I unleashed all my strength and had a 70% chance of defeating them, and a 20% chance of killing them. If you don't want to expose your strength, Soul Changqing has to leave, and these two great talents cannot keep him. At this moment, Soul Changqing is battling a demon beast that has just reached the 7th level deep in the dense forest. Due to the Elder of the Soul Clan's deployment of some means in the space, even if the cultivation level of these warcraft in the space reaches the 7th level, they cannot transform and can only exist as warcraft. As a result, these warcraft creatures, upon seeing humans, one by one, showed signs of bitter hatred and would kill anyone they saw at this moment. Soul Changqing dodged the attack of the 7th level monster in front of him, and while hiding, he exclaimed in amazement at the monster. "TSK, I didn't expect there to be a 9-Yubi Ming python in this space secret realm. It should be Elder Soul Fur who brought it in, but I don't know if there are Heavenly Demon Phoenix and Taigu Virtual Dragon inside. However, it is unlikely that the ancient Virtual Dragon clan has already closed down and formed its own realm, and no one can find it. The Heavenly Demon Phoenix is still moving around Zhongzhou, but the Heavenly Demon Phoenix clan is not weak at this time. There are only 2 or 3 kittens left in the Joyo Biming Python clan, and it's not a big deal to catch them. It's a cheap deal for me. The Yin energy on this Joyo Biming Python is very suitable for me. It is estimated that I can improve a lot by absorbing it. I don't know if I can use this to break through the Dohuang 9 stars." End of this chapter. Chapter 10. 9 Netherworld Python. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. 9 Netherworld Python. Thinking of this, Soul Changqing's eyes were fixed on the 9 Netherworld Python in front of him with fiery eyes, as if he were looking at a treasure instead of a warcraft. The 9 Netherworld Python was momentarily stunned when it saw the gaze of Soul Changqing, and then burned with anger. This gaze is naturally familiar to him, and every time it sees prey, it will show this kind of gaze. One of the 3 great monsters in the world, the 9 Yudi Python, was stared at with such eyes, which directly made him lose his sanity. His body suddenly shrank and then rushed towards Soul Changqing like an arrow departing from a string. Dozens of ice cones were also gathered beside him, shooting towards Soul Changqing together, sealing every corner that Soul Changqing could avoid, making it impossible for him to avoid. However, when Soul Changqing saw this situation, he didn't panic too much. His fingers were together, and a light blue light flashed towards his eyebrows. A drop of water appeared in front of Soul Changqing's eyebrows. Soul Changqing mobilized the true qi in his body, and with a swipe of his fingertips at the water droplet in front of him, the droplet instantly transformed into 2 and 4 instantly. It transforms from a water droplet into a small spring, and then the water surges, forming a transparent light shield. Covering the soul eternal green prison cage, under the sunlight, this light shield formed by water droplets looks sparkling and extremely beautiful. After the formation of the Soul Evergreen light shield, the attack of the warcraft came in an instant, so the attack hit the light shield without reservation. But all attacks on the light shield disappear instantly, only the ripples caused by the attack on the light shield indicate that what happened earlier was not an illusion. The body of the 9 Yudi Python also collided with the light shield. As soon as it touched the light shield, it felt a tremendous force rush into its body, instantly bouncing it hundreds of meters away. A giant pit with a diameter of tens of meters formed at the landing site, and the warcraft was in the middle of the pit, unable to climb up for a while. This light shield is formed by Soul Evergreen using a combination of elemental heavy water and a high-level defense water attribute combat skill of the mysterious level. The quality of 1 yuan heavy water, combined with the blessing of Taiyin true qi, directly gives this fighting skill the power of intermediate level earth. And it can also counterattack physical attacks, adding the opponent's own physical attack power to the 1 yuan heavy water's counterattack power. It's really wonderful to experience it. Soul Changqing fell to the side, looking at the python in the huge pit, and smiled. Attack me with the ice cone formed by the 9 Netherworld qi. I really don't know what to say about you. Your extremely Yin Chi is simply my supplement. You're unlucky enough to meet me. I showed kindness and will send you on the road. Soul Changqing gave a cold smile, and with the words he said, it made the 9 Netherworld python under the huge pit fall like an ice cave. The inner fear made it lose its rationality, and it directly cursed loudly, "Devil! The people of your soul clan are demons, and you will not have a good end. The other 7 clans will never allow you to act like this. At that time, you will definitely be surrounded by them. Yo, I didn't expect you, this little snake, to know a lot. But if that's your last word, then please go ahead." Soul Changqing's smile remained unchanged, but a shimmering water blade slowly appeared in his hand, flying towards the 9 Yubi Ming python. And the 9 Yubi python had no strength to resist, just stared at the person in front of him, who was incredibly beautiful like a celestial being, but the malice in his mind was like a devil coming out of hell, wanting to firmly remember him. Seeing the water blade flying towards it with an incredibly huge Taiyin true energy and killing energy, the 9 nether python exhausted its last bit of strength and shouted, "Devil, even if I were a ghost, I wouldn't let you go." Then he was cut into countless small pieces of meat by the water blade. Soul Changqing heard its words and sneered, saying, "Don't worry, I won't give you a chance to be a ghost. Your soul is my voucher for exchanging points. How could I let you be a ghost? Don't be naive." Subsequently, Soul Changqing took out a container from the ring, which was specifically made by the Soul Clan to collect souls. Each Soul Clan member was equipped with a set, which was of good quality and affordable price. Soul Changqing unleashed the Soul Clan's ability to absorb souls. Ignoring the venomous gaze of the 9 Netherworld python, he swallowed its soul into a container and then walked towards the fragments, picking up a black diamond-shaped crystal inside. End of this chapter.